Aloha.
How's it, brother?
Devon, that's Pidgin. You're not supposed to speak Pidgin when you come to Hawaii.
Oh.
It's considered very disrespectful when tourists try to speak Pidgin to the locals.
My bad. Which brings us to the topic of this video. 20 things not to do
when you come to Hawaii. Hawaiians and Hawaiian residents, the locals, are very adamant about respect. Make sure you don't disrespect the nature, don't be rude,
statues.
Don't disrespect King Kamehameha statues.
That's a big one.
There was an incident when a tourist tried to take a photo and he flipped a finger to a Kamehameha statue, and all of a sudden a local jumped at him.
Came from out of nowhere and just
he started a fight.
Lick it backside.
And make sure you don't disrespect any sacred grounds, any sacred shrines. Don't go over a roped off area.
Right, or maybe take the leis that they put there for the shrines or the statues. Correct, don't remove those.
And don't cross private property. There are a lot of hikes and beaches that are actually considered private property.
Do your research and find out which ones are and which ones aren't.
Don't leave opala anywhere.
Garbage, trash.
In Hawaiian.
Basura.
In Spanish.
In Spanish.
Musar in Russian. Hawaii has a very big problem with garbage. So when you come to Hawaii and decide to buy
a floaty
or maybe snorkel equipment, even if it's damaged, please take it back with you to the mainland, because there is no recycling here, so it's very hard to dispose of rubber, things like that.
Another thing to know when coming to Hawaii is not to turn your back to the ocean. It is crucial. That was one of the first things we learned when we were here. We were out on one of the piers, and a fisherman, I guess, saw us taking photos, but our back is to the ocean. And he told us, he said, that's something we don't want to do, because you can never tell when one of these waves will come from out of nowhere and just
sweep you off your feet.
Sweep you off your feet. And these waves are powerful, and you really have to be mindful of where you're taking your selfies.
There have actually been quite a few videos floating on the internet when people come to Hawaii, and there are a lot of cliffs or rocky areas right by the shoreline, and people take pictures and they don't realize that these powerful waves come, and you see people just tumbling over those jagged rocks, and a lot of people hurt themselves.
You get really hurt. It might not seem like it. Might be like, oh, the water's so far away, there's no way it'll come up here. But the rock is wet for a reason. It's not rain. The waves do come up there from time to time.
Yeah, or sometimes it might be just a few gentle waves, and all of a sudden
one massive one will come from out of nowhere, for sure.
And another thing you need to be mindful of is do not overestimate your swimming abilities. Hawaii is very different from other places as far as currents and waves. You might see that the water is calm and very flat, but there are a lot of currents under the water that you might not be able to handle. And the waves, again, like Devon said, it might be just a small, gentle wave, but all of a sudden a big wave comes up, and our lifeguards rescued so many people daily.
Yeah, and over a year it accumulates to a lot of rescues here, and actually, unfortunately, a lot of drownings.
Yeah,
by locals and tourists.
And even when you go snorkeling and you maybe wander off the shore, again, by the shore it might not be a strong current, but once you go to a specific area, the current might pick up.
Right, that's why they always say also kind of snorkel with a buddy. Because a lot of times you're snorkeling, your head's underwater, and you're drifting, by the time you look up, you're somewhere totally different than where you thought you were. So definitely swim with someone.
Our next don't is do not think Hawaii is all about beaches. Hawaii has so much to offer besides a beautiful tan.
But it's funny, right? Because it's the first thing people think about when you think of Hawaii. You think about the beach.
Hawaii is very cultural. It has a lot of cultural events. Polynesian Center is an amazing place to explore. Aquariums, zoos.
Zoo, which we happen to be
right
across
next to.
from, right. So if you hear or see kids running in our background, it's because we're right across from the zoo.
And so much hiking. When I came to Hawaii, I did not think it would be that many hiking trails. It's insane, and they are all different difficulty level, which we will put together a video on best hikes on Oahu for intermediate and beginner hikers.
Yeah, it's funny because I've never hiked until I came to Hawaii. When you were like, oh, let's go on a hike, and we actually created a video, 7-day challenge, where we did a ton load of hikes and we crammed it all in within 7 days. We're gonna leave a link in the description to that so you guys could check it out. But yeah, like I did no hiking previous to coming to Hawaii, so that was pretty awesome.
You did really great. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
And speaking of beaches, don't think Hawaii beaches are all the same. That is not true. Just take our island of Oahu. We have only white sand beaches here, but they're so different. We created the ultimate beach tour of Oahu, where we reviewed over 20 beaches
around the entire island
in 4-part series.
Yes.
It was so much information that we couldn't fit it all in one vlog.
Yeah, we'll leave the link in the description so you guys can check that out as well.
And again, you can see how different the beaches are. Some areas, beaches are super calm and tranquil waters, great for kids and snorkeling and beginner swimmers. Some beaches have insane shore break.
Sandy beach.
It's called neck break beach for a reason.
For sure. We divided up the beaches based on the side of the island. So we did south side, we did east side, we did north shore, and we did the west side. So we covered the entire island. Make sure you check it out.
And even though Oahu have all white sand beaches, other islands have red sand beach, which is mind-blowing.
Green?
How? Green sand beach,
Yes.
black sand beaches. That is insane.
And we covered all of those as well when we went to the Big Island and Maui.
Be sure to check out different types of beaches. Even when you're on the same island, just go to different beaches and
sure.
explore.
Another don't is don't stay at your resort when you're here.
The entire time.
The entire time. I understand some people, you know, they just want to just stay in their resort by the pool and just sip on your pina colada. But this is Hawaii. It just has so much to offer, as we mentioned before. Get out, explore. Even if you take a tour,
Right.
you could do a Circle Island tour and you'll learn so much in one day. Mind-blowing.
So you don't have to rent a car. It's obviously great if you do, but if you don't, take tours for sure and explore other things that the island has to offer.
Absolutely. Also, talking about renting a car, if you're going to rent a vehicle, don't honk the horn.
It's considered rude. Hawaii is aloha state, so everybody is chilling, and actually people get citations for unnecessary honking.
It's funny, again, coming from New York, everybody honks. But we've been here long enough that the honking has actually left my system. So now when I do hear a car happen to honk, I look at them like, hey, what are you doing? There's no honking.
Hang loose.
Hang loose, relax. And on the topic of vehicles, it's important, and we've stressed it in so many of our vlogs, do not leave anything important visible in your car. Or valuable. Yes, car break-ins happen often and throughout the island. So don't make the mistake of leaving something valuable visible in your car. Okay, this don't is for the touchers, the ones that just like to see everything and just want to just touch. They just want to touch everything. Don't, under any circumstances, touch the sea turtles. Don't do it.
Besides the fact that it's the law of not touching the turtle and being actually 10 feet away, yes, there is a measurement.
There's social distances for turtle, and it's all the time. It has nothing to do with COVID, guys. It's 10 feet all day, all night, 365 days of the year. Don't touch the turtles. Don't
disrespect the wildlife.
Yes, exactly. And we created a turtle vlog, and we've put that in there. And so if you want to know about the sea turtles, we covered everything you need to know about the Hawaiian sea turtle. We have a vlog in the description. Go.
And where to snorkel with sea turtles as well. And not only sea turtles, do not touch seals as well. Yes, you can spot seals in Hawaii. We actually saw one just chilling when we went on a hike at Kaena Point.
Right, that's in our vlog, Ultimate Beach Tour. That's there too.
And we saw a seal when we went to
Maui.
So in Maui, they actually roping them off because seals come right on the beach and they don't want people to disturb them.
Right, so there are places, there are certain beaches where they do have people that are there that know that the turtles or the seals come up to that certain part because they always do. So they have someone there so that when the turtles or the seals come up, they immediately rope it off. So if you happen to be on a beach or on the hike, as in, you know, Kaena Point, and you see a seal or turtles and there's no one around, it's only you.
It's not roped off.
There's no rope. That does not mean you can't touch. Please respect it and stay clear. You can get your photos, but don't get too close.
If you post a photo or video on your social media of you holding a turtle, grabbing, harassing it,
or within the 10 feet rule,
you might get a fine as well. And even out of state people.
Absolutely. So don't do it. No toque in Espanol. Russian?
Не трогать.
Не трогать.
Speaking of beaches, when you come to the beach and want to sip some pina coladas, it is not allowed to drink alcohol on the beach. There are a few bars that are right beachfront, but you cannot legally take a drink to the beach.
Right.
There are some locals who sneak cans of alcohol, but make sure if you decide to do that, make sure it's not in a glass jar.
And take your bottles and cans back to your hotel rooms. So for those of you who visited Hawaii before, especially Waikiki, and you know Duke's famous restaurant, you know that if you order drinks there, you can't leave the premises of Duke's to walk out on the sand, because the back end of Duke's walks right out to the beach. And a lot of times people buy drinks and they want to just walk out to the beach.
And even though it's in a plastic cup.
And it's in a plastic cup, right. There's someone normally there and they'll tell you you can't leave this area with drinks in your hand to go out on the beach.
And make sure you do not smoke on the beach. Smoking on the beach is illegal, which is good for us because we don't smoke and we
you
do
shouldn't
not
either.
like smoking. Starting from January 2021, Hawaii is switching to all reef-safe sunscreen. So make sure when you do come to Hawaii, do not bring sunscreen that is not reef-safe. Respect the nature. Right now, we already started seeing a lot of stores switching to sunscreen that is reef-safe.
If you're not sure about the sunscreen you're purchasing from wherever it is you're coming from, just come here and purchase it from here and you know it will be fine.
So why is it that we are switching to reef-safe sunscreen? Is because our reef is dying.
And reefs are very, very, very important. And speaking of reefs, another don't is do not step on the corals. You are killing them when you step on them. They take years and years and years to grow just a fraction of an inch. And by you stepping on it for just a second, you're destroying years of growth. So don't step on the corals. There are plenty of times we've been to Hanauma Bay. If you've been to Hanauma Bay, you'll know it's one of the best spots to actually snorkel here. But sometimes you're literally, I don't know, a couple of feet off the top of the water and the coral's right below you. And we've heard the lifeguards, I mean, even when you get there, there's a video that you have to watch and they tell you not to step on the corals. And when you actually go down to the beach, you see people, I don't know if they don't understand the video or whatever it is, but they're actually walking on the corals, and a lifeguard would have to, on a bullhorn, say, you know, stay off the corals, stay off the corals. And if you see and know Hanauma Bay, you know that the corals are...
And they actually kick people out for
doing that. Yeah.
So when you snorkel and you see just a gray rock and you might not think anything
it's just a rock,
it.
It's coral and it's living. So don't step on them.
Don't disrespect the nature again.
While exploring Hawaii, there's one thing you don't have to be afraid of, and that's food trucks. And I know that might sound weird, but yeah, it's a thing here. Food trucks are everywhere, and the food is delicious. It is so good.
So don't be afraid to eat from food truck. It's a very cultural thing. Everybody does it and everybody enjoys. And it's cheaper than eating from restaurants as well.
And if you're here on Oahu, there's the place to go where it's food truck heaven, and that's on the North Shore.
And we actually dedicated the entire vlog to it. It's a Kahuku Sugar Mill. We will also leave a link in the description below. Next, as we mentioned before, Hawaii is all about hiking. There's so many trails, so when you do go on hikes, be sure you do not go alone and you do not go too late.
Or try not to go alone, and if you do, make sure you have a cell phone and plenty of water.
Yeah, there is actually a Maui resident last year got lost from hiking, and she was lost for I think 15 days. Nobody could find her. Do not venture off the trails. Be very vigilant and make sure you go on marked trails. And when we did our Oahu 7-day Oahu itinerary challenge, we did a peace pillbox hike, but we went a little bit too late, and at the end of the hike it's starting to get really dark, and we were running down the trail, and because it was rainy season it was very slippery, and one of our friends slipped several times.
Yeah, these hikes can be
she
dangerous.
came down very muddy. We did not have flashlights with us, so we were really in a hurry to get down. So don't make the mistakes we did.
Definitely don't hike too late. You don't want to hike when the sun's down. On the topic of hikes, when you're hiking, you're going to see a lot of signs. Some of them will say, no trespassing. Some of them will say, flash flood warning. Now that's very important, and it's important that you obey those signs.
Don't take flash flood warnings lightly.
Yes, there are times, especially if you know you're going on a hike and you're here during rainy season, that's when you really need to be mindful of what you're doing. You don't want to cross what seems to be a nice flowing easy river, and
Or
you're hiking or stream, and you're hiking an hour, 2 hours away, and then on your way back there's a downpour. That little stream is now a roaring river, and you will not be able to get across, and if you try it you will get swept away. Very, very dangerous. Flash flood warnings, there are a lot of rescues that have to happen, and of course you don't want that, because not only are you putting yourself in danger, but you're putting the rescuers' lives in danger. So
and Hawaii is all about mountain ridges and waterfalls.
Right.
And you know, there is a lot of water in these ridges.
And they come flowing down with speed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The next don't might seem pretty funny, but it happens all the time. Do not take lava rocks with you from the national parks, or even sand. And if you take a lava rock with you, the goddess Pele will curse you. So what post offices see all the time,
This is funny actually,
that people, when they go back home with the rock and then they learn about this legend, they actually mail those lava rocks or sand back to Hawaii, and they address in the package to the goddess Pele. So post office get hundreds of packages back all the time.
with rocks.
Who knew? Now you do.
Exactly. When you come to Hawaii, you will come to find out really quickly that blowholes are a big attraction. But this is where the don't comes in. Don't go near the blowhole. Stay clear of it.
The way the blowholes happen is there is a hole in a rock that is right next to the ocean, and when the wave comes, it pushes underneath the rock, goes through the hole, and with the pressure the water blows up, so it looks like
a water fountain.
Right.
It's really pretty. It
blowing
really is.
out of a hole. So at times you might see that there is nothing blowing through the hole, and you might want to come and look down, but don't do that, because you never know when the wave will come. And pushes water with force, and a lot of people get hurt actually from blowholes.
And a lot of times the water, you might think you would actually see a wave come in and then you would see the water blow up through the hole, but that's not always the case. A lot of times the waves, it's just like a swell, but because of the pressure, once it gets inside the cave or that hole, the pressure just shoots it up and you don't even expect it. So you never know when it's actually going to blow.
And
so
you never know how hard it will blow.
Right,
Every
exactly.
time, sometimes it is just a little puff, and sometimes it just makes the noise,
Right.
or sometimes there is a massive blow.
Right.
When you come to Hawaii, be sure you do not try to bring any plants or plant species. It is illegal to bring anything to Hawaii. Maybe you want to move to Hawaii and bring your favorite flowers or some type of fruit tree. It is illegal, so don't even try, because you will get a fine and the neighbors will tell on you.
They'll rat you out.
So don't disrespect the nature.
And that brings us to our very last don't.
Number 20.
That is, don't refuse a lei.
It is
nice.
Cultural thing. It is considered disrespectful, and we put together the entire vlog dedicated to leis, where you can learn what's a lei, what's the significance of a lei,
How is it used, how
what
to
it's
discard
made out
it,
of,
where to get it.
and how to properly accept a lei.
Right.
It's so much information about leis.
As always.
So we're not gonna go into leis too much
But
here.
just when someone's
but it's a very big
giving it to you.
cultural tradition to give a lei.
Right, don't do it. We sure hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it was a lot of don'ts, but if you want us to create another video about do's, leave a comment. Yes.
Do what to do in Hawaii.
Leave a comment and say do it. We want the comment that says do it in the comment fields below. If we get 100 do it's, we will create that vlog on all the do's in Hawaii. Make sure you like this video, that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Click on that bell notification. This way you're notified when the next video comes out.
Also, please follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where we post our updates, more current photos and videos, so what it is that we're doing during the day. And as usual, mahalo for watching, and just be out with us.